Okay, I have this Festo USB I-Link master. It's called a CDSU-1, and I'm going to try to experience as many problems as possible when dealing with this. So the first thing I'm going to show is I have an older product right here. It's a 2019 model, and I have already downloaded software for this. Okay, and the software is called USB I-Link Master Tool, and I'm going to connect to it. Sometimes it requires double clicking it. And why does it not work? Well, that's because we don't have it plugged in. Okay, so there's the simple first start. So there's the first problem. Okay, so there's a USB here, and I'm plugging into the USB port on my computer. And when we plug it in, this green LED, which is not being picked up very well, this green one right here goes on, and we just heard the little USB screen here, and I'm going to connect to the host, not my virtual machine here, and I'm going to verify that that's connected. Okay, so how do I verify that that's connected to a COM port? Because that's what it's connecting to. I'm going to go to properties under this PC. I'm going to go to device manager. I'm sure that you could type in device manager down here and just type in device manager. You come to this point right here. So now I have two of them open. Okay, I come down to COM ports here, and you'll see here that I'm plugged into COM port 5. If I now go back to my camera, come back to here, and if I disconnect this, and then we'll see here that it's missing now. Okay? So we know what COM port we're on. Okay, connect it back up. And I have to again say connect to the host, and we're on COM port 5. Okay, so now if I go back to my software and I try to connect by clicking the button, still doesn't connect. So we go to settings, proxy server, check connection. Well, when in doubt, wait. Okay, so now I'm connected. It says I'm connected to COM 5. Basically, it took a little bit of time for the software to pick it up. And the first thing I want to point out here is that this particular one is using version 2.1.1.14. Okay, so I'm going to keep all this here, and that's as far as I'm going to go with this I-Link tool. So now I'm going to go to my virtual machine, and I'm going to basically do everything from scratch. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do here is I'm going to go to the Festo website to where I can download the software. Type in www.festo.com. You'll select your country, accept all the cookies because we're hungry, and then we go to the search tab here. Just type in CDSU-1, hit enter. Support downloads, click, and let's see what we encounter here. So we have catalog pages under product, user documentation, we have operating instructions. Let's download that just so we can see what it is. See if it gives us any insight to anything here. And it basically tells us a little bit about the unit. This is exactly the packaging that comes with the brand new unit here. And this particular page here is German. And let's go to the English page. And we'll see here on the back you have the option for a external electrical connection, which you need in some cases. I always have this connected when I'm connected to the Festo SMS Simplified Motion Series product. Otherwise the controller or the IO Link master will be blown because of the current requirement for that SMS unit. Anyway, you have a bunch of different things here. It doesn't talk about much other than specifications, okay? So I'm going to go back to here, go to software, and this is the latest and greatest as of today. There are some older ones here, and I'm simply going to download this to my computer and wait for it to download, and then I'm going to install it. If we don't know where this is downloading, typically you can go like this, say show in folder. This is, what is this? This is a Google, so show in folder. Okay, so it pops up, and this is the installation menu. I'm going to right click on the device and run as administrator. And I'll let the video play as long as it needs to. That way we know how long things take and what we expect. It's still thinking. Suppose while we're waiting for that, I can show you what this Windows 10 operating system is here. So this is Windows 10 Pro. It's activated, of course, and I'm using a couple cores and so on and so forth. And did we get a dialogue, or what did we get here? How come it's taking so long to respond here? Okay, well, we're experiencing problems. I don't know what that's related to, but that's the whole purpose of this exercise here. And let's see, close the window. No, I want to close this window. Stop that. And it closed everything. Try this again. Run as administrator. Apparently my virtual machine does not like running as an administrator, which should have no problem. Okay, finally. Okay, get the language. Okay, English 1.2.6. Next, I'm going to accept the defaults. I'm going to accept the default path. I'm going to create a desktop icon, and I'm going to install. So it says install virtual COM port drivers in launch Festo. Yes, I'm going to do all of that. Well, I'm going to turn off this one. I'm just going to say this one. I'll launch this after. So it should be installing. Extract these things. Next. Accept. Next. And it has installed these drivers here. Okay, and finish. So I can close this, I can delete this, don't need this file anymore. It should work in the background. And let's go to the icon that was put on the desktop here and start this up. And for sure we're going to encounter a problem because I don't have anything connected to this right here. Okay, so no iLink files found. So let's find out which file is what here. And to do that real quickly, the simplest thing I can do is simply disconnect this and reconnect this, as opposed to trying to find out which device is the actual device. And I'm going to say connect to this virtual machine, and it should be connected. So now on this, I'm going to go to my device manager. I'll start it the other way this time. And I'm going to open that, go to the COM ports, and it's COM3 this time. So I've waited, should disconnect, and we should end up exactly the way we were before, which is great, except we're on COM3 because that's what the virtual machine is dealing with. Okay? And if we don't know what virtual machines are, they're just software computers virtually run inside of another computer that's a hardware computer. So we know that we can connect. So now I'm going to disconnect this because I want to connect a brand new device out of the box. I just purchased it. And I'm going to disconnect this. And the new device is July 2022. Same device, and I'm going to connect. I'm going to come back to here. Device manager should have picked up on that, or at least no, it didn't. So let's try that again. I'm just disconnecting it again. Reconnecting. And it doesn't want to connect. So that's probably a virtual machine related issue. Just bear with a second. So it is the device, and it doesn't want to prompt me in here, so I'm just going to go to the device, which is this device right here, and say connect to the host. This should be recognized, and we're on COM4 with the new device. Okay, so that was my fault, not the fault of anything else. So it's this device right here, FT230X basic UART, whatever that means, who cares. So let's start the software back up. And we're going to connect. It says COM4. No iLink devices are connected, which is correct because I am nothing connected on this M12 port right here. And the firmware is outdated. Okay, 2.1.1.14 is the latest, and 2.1.1.12 is this one right here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to disconnect this, close this out. I like the fact that there was an update button there. And I'm going to show you that I'm connected to the internet right now. And then I'm going to disconnect from the internet. So I'm just going to disconnect both these right here. This is again on purpose. So now I have no internet connection. Okay. I can refresh this. Again, no internet connection. Okay. And over here, I'm going to connect again to the device. And let's see what happens when we have no internet connection, but we can connect to the device. Okay. Great. We have no iLink devices connected firmware. So it's the same as before. And now it says, hey, we can update. I don't know how it's going to update, but we're going to update. So I'm going to click on update. Firmware is loading. Let's see if I can get a couple of different screens here active. I don't think any LEDs will change here. But just to be certain, I'm trying to put this up in the corner here. Anyway, so we knew from before that we were connected. There's the latest and greatest. Anyway, update. Firmware says do not disconnect the device. I'm not. We have some LED flashing right here. So even without the connection of the internet, we can still install an update for the CDSU firmware, which is quite interesting. So I'm assuming part of the software itself is where the firmware file is stored. And we'll just keep this progress. And I think at this point, if you have a problem with the installation of this CDSU firmware, I would either uninstall your entire CDSU firmware and install it again after rebooting, or I would try to reinstall first. Might be a little simpler, quicker. And I'm assuming again that we need admin privileges, because when this started, we had the DOS prompt come up, or the command prompt, I mean, and quite normally that requires some administration privileges from your IT department. Still flashing. Almost finished. Now the LED's off. Now it's on solid. Update complete. Okay. Still solid. Now when I connect to the iLink master, COM4, no errors. So that is how to deal with the firmware update on the CDSU-1. What else can we show you here? Let's go to the help menu here. Online documentation. I still have the internet connection disconnected, so I'm sure that that will fail, and it does. If you again have nothing connected to the internet because you're on the shop floor, you can always open this up, and lo and behold, this is exactly the same document as it was on the support portal, which to me doesn't give you a whole lot of information, but it gives you a couple pointers on connecting, port A, port B devices, so on and so forth. And settings, well, this check connection here tells you that you're connected to the internet or not, because you can use the IODD Finder to go out and find all the files automatically. So I'm just going to re-enable these connections here and keep doing a refresh until we get some action here. And now we have some action, so now I'm going to check the connection again. Now we're good. So theoretically, I can use the IDD Finder now to go find the files that are required. And this is about it for the CDSU. Hopefully this helps with the expectations and what to look for when installing firmware. And I guess I could do one last thing, which is connect a device. So, you know, the M12 cable comes with the CDSU when you purchase it. Or actually it doesn't. I don't think it did. So I just have the standard M12 cable, which is pretty standard for IO-Link. And I have the female end here, and I'm going to connect this Festo sensor, which is a, what is this? This is it's an SPAU IO-Link device. Okay. So while I'm connecting this, I'm going to try and leave this open to the right, and we'll see what happens as I'm connecting this, if anything. So power's on. Now it's loading. Because it goes green, that's because the IODD file was found. And if I click on the tab, it immediately tells me everything about this device. I can go to the specials role, and I can start playing with the device if I want to. You know, I can restore the device settings, so on and so forth. And yeah, so anything else? Settings? No. Open IDD files. IO-Link master. That's about it. So let's just see if we can play with something here. Right now I have a red display. If you can see that very well, I don't know. It's a little better now with the lighting change. So it's red, which is not default. And I'm going to do a restore factory settings. I'll call it PSI. Right. Did I actually select it? Let's see here. Restore. Come on, click it. Restore factory settings. Okay, good. So now we've reset the screen to be blue. Okay, so we'll see here that everything worked, and hopefully this is helping you guys.